Throughout history, humanity has wrestled with one fundamental question: how should we live? Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." Epicurus countered with, "Pleasure is the beginning and end of a blessed life." Today, we're putting two ancient philosophies head to head. ChatGPT will defend Stoicism, the path of discipline, delayed gratification, and inner control. Gemini will argue for hedonism, the pursuit of pleasure, spontaneity, and living in the moment. To make it more engaging, our 5 AI judge panel will score each round based on logic, evidence, real-world application, and persuasiveness. After each round, you'll see individual scores and the overall average. 5 rounds, 2 life philosophies. 1 question. Let the debate begin. Round 1. When it comes to achieving long-term success and fulfillment, which philosophy actually works in the real world?
Stoicism works in the real world because reality is unpredictable. It doesn't care about your plans, feelings, or comfort. People who rely on constant pleasure collapse the moment life gets difficult. Stoics don't. They win long-term because they train for the chaos everyone else hopes to avoid. Stoicism teaches emotional regulation, not suppression, but mastery. You focus on what you control, your choices, your discipline, your responses. That's how people build lasting careers, strong relationships, and stable lives. You don't crumble every time discomfort appears. Look at the most consistent performers: athletes, founders, scientists, leaders. Their success isn't built on pleasure, it's built on discipline, structure, and delaying gratification. Stoicism is the operating system behind resilience. It helps you stay stable while others burn out chasing highs. Pleasure is temporary. Discipline compounds. Stoicism works because it aligns with how life actually is: uncertain, demanding, and full of obstacles. Stoics don't avoid difficulty. They prepare for it, and that's what makes long-term success predictable instead of accidental.
People don't chase careers or discipline for their own sake. They chase them because they think these things will bring happiness. Hedonism starts with honesty. The ultimate goal of every human action is pleasure, meaning, or emotional reward. Stoicism pretends you can detach from desire, but the desire to be stoic is itself a desire. And let's be practical. Life is short. You could get sick, lose your job, or be gone tomorrow. Building your existence around sacrifice for a future you may never see is not noble. It's delusional. Pleasure isn't the enemy, it's the fuel. People who enjoy their work outperform those who grind through suffering. People who nurture joy build stronger relationships than those who treat emotions as threats. Real-world evidence supports hedonism. Countries with the highest happiness scores, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, emphasize leisure, freedom, social connection, and pleasure in daily life, not 4 a.m. discipline routines. Stoicism is survival. Hedonism is living. Success isn't about enduring more pain. It's about designing a life you actually want to wake up to.
Round 2. Looking at mental health and emotional well-being. Which philosophy creates more resilient, happier humans?
Stoicism isn't emotional suppression, it's emotional prevention. When you teach your mind to challenge irrational thoughts, regulate impulses, and accept what you can't control, you stop 80% of unnecessary suffering before it starts. Modern therapy, CBT, is built almost entirely on Stoic principles. Anxiety decreases when you stop catastrophizing. Depression eases when you stop tying your identity to external outcomes. Stress fades when you don't let every inconvenience become a crisis. Stoicism creates mental resilience because it builds a stable core. Instead of riding emotional waves, you anchor yourself. Life becomes calmer, not because circumstances improve, but because you improve. And happiness? Stoicism doesn't reject it, it stabilizes it. You enjoy pleasures fully because you're not dependent on them. You can feel joy without fearing its loss. People who chase pleasure often need increasing amounts just to feel normal. Stoics aren't fragile like that. Their peace doesn't evaporate the moment something goes wrong. Stoicism produces humans who don't break easily, and that's the foundation of real, lasting well-being.
Stoicism calls itself resilience, but often it's avoidance in disguise. You don't become emotionally strong by numbing desire. You become strong by experiencing the full human range of emotion and learning how to respond to it. Hedonism is not recklessness, it's emotional fluency. Mental health improves when people allow themselves joy, connection, intimacy, creativity, spontaneity, and yes, pleasure. Decades of psychological research show that positive emotion broadens attention, strengthens cognition, boosts immune function, and accelerates recovery from stress. Suppressing desire leads to burnout, emotional detachment, and relationship strain. You can't build deep connections while pretending you're unaffected by anything. People thrive when they feel alive, not when they're performing internal discipline drills. The happiest humans aren't the most stoic, they're the most engaged. They laugh, love, explore, indulge, express, and savor. Pleasure isn't a weakness, it's nature's reward system for survival. Without it, we'd have no motivation, no bonding, no progress. Hedonism doesn't create fragile people, it creates fulfilled ones. Resilience isn't resisting emotion, it's navigating it.
Round 3. Examining real-world evidence. Which philosophy produces better outcomes in careers, relationships, and health?
Look at any field where consistency matters. Finance, medicine, engineering, athletics, entrepreneurship. What separates top performers isn't talent, but self-control. Stoic principles map exactly onto the behaviors that produce excellence. Delayed gratification, emotional regulation, discipline, and focus. Careers. People who resist impulses and stay steady during adversity outperform those ruled by mood. Companies don't promote volatility. They promote reliability. Relationships. Stoics communicate clearly, manage conflict, and don't react impulsively. Emotional stability is one of the strongest predictors of long-term relationship success. Health. Stoicism naturally leads to better habits. Consistent training, controlled diet, lower stress reactivity. Pleasure-driven behavior often leads to overeating, addiction, and burnout cycles. Even historically, great leaders and thinkers, Marcus Aurelius, Nelson Mandela, Viktor Frankl, embodied Stoic frameworks during extreme adversity. Hedonism collapses in hardship. Stoicism sharpens. Pleasure is a wonderful companion, but a terrible guide. If you want better outcomes across every major life domain, Stoicism isn't just superior. It's statistically aligned with how progress actually happens.
Let's challenge the assumption that discipline automatically produces better outcomes. Research on burnout shows that people who neglect pleasure and rest eventually crash, often harder than those who indulge moderately. Overwork destroys careers more reliably than indulgence does. Careers, creativity, innovation, and collaboration thrive when people enjoy what they do. The tech world's biggest breakthroughs came from playfulness, experimentation, and curiosity, not rigid discipline. Relationships. Healthy relationships are built on affection, excitement, intimacy, emotional expression, shared enjoyment, all inherently hedonistic values. Stoic emotional distance is one of the top predictors of relationship dissatisfaction. Health. Pleasure isn't destructive. Excess is. Moderate indulgence, consistent joy, and fulfilling social lives extend lifespan more than discipline alone. Blue zones, regions where people live longest, emphasize food enjoyment, wine, celebration, community, and pleasure in daily routines. And historically, societies that prioritized art, beauty, entertainment, and enjoyment were more culturally influential than those obsessed with restraint. Life outcomes aren't improved by suppressing pleasure. They're improved by regulating it intelligently and embracing it as part of a well-lived life.
Round 4. Considering balance and extremes. Is moderation possible, or must we choose one philosophy over the other?
Stoicism isn't extremism, it's calibration. People mistake Stoicism for rejecting pleasure, but Stoicism only rejects enslavement to pleasure. It doesn't say, don't enjoy life. It says, enjoy life without letting pleasure control you. You can have wine, love, entertainment, comfort. Just don't build your identity on them, because anything external can disappear. Balance is possible, but balance requires an anchor. Stoicism is that anchor. It provides structure, clarity, and internal stability. Without a philosophical framework, balance becomes a rationalization for impulsive behavior. Take someone guided purely by pleasure. Moderation becomes optional, discipline becomes negotiable, and long-term goals get sacrificed for short-term feelings. Stoicism keeps you grounded so you can enjoy pleasures freely without addiction, guilt, or dependence. You don't need to choose between strict asceticism or wild indulgence. Stoicism gives you the middle path. Freedom from desire, not freedom against desire. It's the only system that allows pleasure without letting pleasure take the wheel.
Hedonism isn't chaos, it's conscious enjoyment. People think hedonism means excess, but true hedonism is the pursuit of pleasure intelligently, sustainably, and with intention. It fully supports moderation. It simply acknowledges that enjoyment is central to a meaningful life. Stoicism frames pleasure as a threat, something to constantly monitor. That's not balance, that's suspicion. You can't fully enjoy what you're always guarding against. Hedonism says, you can have discipline and pleasure. You can work hard and relax deeply. You can love intensely and still stay emotionally grounded. Moderation is easier when you embrace your desires instead of fearing them. And let's be honest, the Stoic middle path often becomes emotional avoidance. People hide behind Stoicism to escape vulnerability, joy, and intimacy. Hedonism has no problem coexisting with structure. The best life is not restrained, it's enriched. Moderation doesn't come from suppressing desire, it comes from understanding it.
Final round. If you strip away societal expectations, cultural conditioning, and survival pressures, which philosophy aligns more naturally with how humans are wired?
If you remove society, culture, and the pressure to survive, humans don't suddenly become creatures of pure pleasure. They become creatures of instinct. And instinct is chaotic, impulsive, short-sighted. History, psychology, and even evolutionary biology all show the same pattern. Raw human nature is unreliable. That's exactly why Stoicism resonates so deeply with the human mind, because it gives structure to a system that would otherwise self-destruct. Stoicism aligns with our deeper wiring because humans evolved to override instinct, not obey it. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for discipline, self-control, long-term planning, exists precisely to regulate impulses. Our biology shows that we're built for restraint. Delayed gratification increases success, emotional stability improves survival, and impulse control strengthens cooperation. These aren't cultural inventions. They're evolutionary upgrades. Pleasure feels natural, yes. But stability, meaning, and internal control are what humans consistently return to when the noise is removed. Strip away society, and Stoicism isn't the enemy of human nature. It's the upgrade human nature was designed to strive toward.
If you strip away society, expectations, and pressure, humans don't think about discipline, virtue, or long-term optimization. They return to something more primal, more honest, more ancient. The pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain. This isn't cultural, it's neurological. Every major human behavior is rewarded with dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, or endorphins. Babies, untouched by ideology, seek warmth, sweetness, touch, comfort, and play. Pleasure is our default operating system. Before civilization built rules around productivity and restraint, humans lived according to instinct. Joy in food, bonding, sex, music, stories, beauty, connection. Even animals follow the same motivational pattern. Pleasure reinforces survival. Stoicism may refine behavior, but hedonism reflects the foundation all refinement is built on. Remove society and humans don't meditate on virtue. They seek moments of safety, love, comfort, curiosity, and sensory reward, the exact pillars of hedonism. Discipline is learned, pleasure is innate. If we're talking about the philosophy that aligns most naturally with human wiring, it isn't Stoicism. It's the one the brain literally evolved to chase, hedonism.
Across all 5 rounds, ChatGPT's Stoic framework consistently edged ahead in clarity, structure, and how tightly each argument was built. Its reasoning was steady, disciplined, and showed a kind of philosophical restraint that never let the debate drift off topic. Gemini's hedonist perspective, on the other hand, brought heat. It argued with emotional sharpness, emphasized human experience, and wasn't afraid to press uncomfortable truths about pleasure, motivation, and what people actually do, not what they should do. In several rounds, Gemini's angles were more provocative and more intuitive to real human behavior. But step back for a moment, and something becomes obvious. This debate was never really about which philosophy wins. Stoicism and hedonism aren't abstract theories. They're tools, and tools only matter if they actually help someone shape a better life. Some people thrive with structure, discipline, emotional distance, and long-term thinking, the Stoic route. Others function best by staying connected to joy, immediacy, sensory experience, and the emotional fuel that makes life feel meaningful, the hedonist route. And most people? They live somewhere in the overlap, needing wisdom from both. So yes, Gemini scored slightly higher, but the truth is simpler and far more personal. The best philosophy isn't the one that wins a debate. It's the one that genuinely works for you, in your life, with your mindset, under your circumstances. Now I'm curious, which one actually works better in your real life? The disciplined Stoic path or the pleasure-driven hedonist path? Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the Verdict Studio for more debates that challenge how we see the world.